Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Howdy-ho, friends and neighbors. We are back. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. InsideRealEstateRadio.com is the website. We're going to do a little bit of insurance talk. We got our good friend Richard Tonihka over at Goosehead Insurance. His website, richardtagency.com. richardtagency.com. And how we doing, Richard?
We're doing well. How are you doing today?
I am excellent.
Even though we've been talking for about an hour at least.
I know, right?
What I wanted to talk about, didn't know that the storms and everything were going to come up yesterday, but
yeah.
I was looking forward, and as Mother's Day is approaching, I don't know about y'all, but I know my kids love picking out jewelry for my wife. They don't love paying for it yet, mostly because they're 9 and 2, but they love picking it out. So anyway, the Mother's Day gifts, and if you're getting something expensive for your mother or your significant other, then what you need to kind of look at is what is the price of that? Not just from the fact that you're buying it, but also how it relates to your insurance. Because one of the things that I want to talk about, or the subject of today, is going to be scheduling personal property and the benefits and when you should do it, and an example of what would be covered, what wouldn't be covered, and all that good stuff. So when should you, every home policy has a personal property blanket coverage for your house, whether it's 40%, 50%, whatever it is. And all those percentages are based off of your dwelling value. So let's say you have a dwelling value or a replacement cost for your home of $200,000. Normally you're looking at anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 as far as personal property that would be covered. And when you're talking about personal property being covered, you're talking about replacement cost. You can have actual cash value, which if you ever see that on your homeowner's insurance, it's a very bad thing. It means depreciation is being taken into account. And so I would advise you to get out of that policy and into a policy that gives you replacement cost. So everything that I'm going to be talking about is just a generic Ho3 replacement cost policy that a normal homeowner would have.
Right.
And so in the state of Texas, normally for jewelry, you're going to have $1,500 limit on your jewelry, $2,500 for your gun. So in Texas, we value the gun more than we value the jewelry.
We're smart. I'd value those guns more than the jewelry as well.
And so when you're looking at this, you're going to have that blanket coverage, and it's going to be the same coverage that you have on your house is the same coverage that you're going to have on your individual, your jewelry, your firearms, your fine arts, your furs, and all that stuff. All that stuff has the exact same limitations that your home insurance has as far as the perils. So fire, lightning, windstorm, hail, all that stuff, all that is going to be the exact same. The three benefits of having the scheduling your personal property and is you get it at replacement cost value. So let's say you buy an engagement ring. I'm not saying you're going to. I'm not saying you haven't. So if you're listening, I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm not saying he has. Let's say you buy an engagement ring. That goes well above the $1,500 that a normal policy is going to have for your jewelry sublimit. Let's say it's $5,000. That's a nice chunk of change. And so you give it to your fiance. She goes out, loses it. Are you covered for that? No.
Not unless you scheduled it.
Exactly. So if you do not schedule anything, you do not get it if it's lost. It has to be one of those things that is listed on your homeowner's policy. Your homeowner's policy does not have loss. I lost my house. It's not one of those coverages that you can add to your home policy. So right. you have to have one of those covered risks.
Yeah.
Also, along with having it covering you for loss, the first thing that you're going to have to do, you're going to have it appraised. every 3 years, especially if it's jewelry, you're going to have it appraised. There's going to be an agreed upon amount that is going to be given to that item. So the appraisal is going to have a picture of it. It's going to give all the very specific items for that particular piece of property. Let's say that same or that same ring, that $5,000 engagement ring, you gave it to her, she lost it, or let's say even better yet, she's in the kitchen, she's cooking. I'm not saying that because she's a woman she has to cook. I'm just saying she's cooking, and she's a bad cook, so she starts a grease fire, and the ring goes up with it.
Right.
Don't have it anymore because of the fire that's covered, so you're okay there. Unfortunately, all you're going to get is $1,500 because of the simple fact that that's the sub limit.
Yeah, and that's going to be a fraction of the cost of what you paid, bottom line. Guys, you've got to think about this out there because you're the one buying the engagement ring, the wedding ring, okay? So, and those are taken off. They're taken off, when the wife, maybe, yes, does dishes, or when she takes a shower, or when she's, putting contacts in, or she's doing makeup, and half the time, honestly, and you got to do it early too, because guess
Yes.
what? You need to do it as soon as you get it, because guess how many times that ring is lost on the honeymoon?
And it's only, even if you, on your sub policy, you're going to have so much time to get it done. But back to my, so the grease fire, she loses the ring. You've got a $200,000 house, so a 1% deductible, $2,000. So you've got a $1,500 loss in your hand, but you have a $2,000 deductible. They're not going to pay anything. So you just lost out. You just lost out on $5,000 because you did not schedule this.
Right.
With a scheduled personal property, you can get it with no deductible. Does it cost a little bit more? Absolutely. Does it cost more to schedule something? Absolutely. It's not going to be covered under a base homeowner's policy. You are going to have to pay a little bit more, but it's the protection that you're getting with no deductible, and it increases the amount of risk that you're covered for. And so when you're looking at this, how much are you spending for it? Because like you were saying, you have to, if you're really doing your due diligence and you're making sure that everything's taken care of, you have to look at, I spent this much. Is it going to be worth the $150 that it's going to cost to cover this? If I don't know about anyone else's wife. I know my wife will take off her rings outside of the home to wash her hands or do what, excuse me, and to do whatever.
Yeah.
And there are all too often times where somebody puts down a ring and just forgets it.
Things happen, and how many rings are at the bottom of the Caribbean, from snorkeling on honeymoons or vacations or Hawaii. They're at the bottom of the ocean, and the ones that didn't get scheduled, SOL.
Yes, and then you're also looking at those sublimits. Let's say you went out and you got that $30,000 ring or a $10,000 ring, and something happens. Again, you're looking at the deductible. You're looking at basically coming out of pocket for the entire thing, because although that you will have coverage, and I'm throwing up air quotes, you do have coverage for it. Let's say you lose, or you had that same fire, and now you've got 10, 15 items because the fire just grew so big that it ended up taking out a nearby bathroom that had a bunch of jewelry in it. Again, you're still going to have that same sub limit of $1,500 for each individual item. Then you're going to have your deductible. So you may have a lot of damage or a lot of loss, but a lot of those pieces of jewelry aren't going to be taken care of at replacement cost, and or they aren't going to be paid at all. There are going to be some of the items that aren't done at all. And when you're looking at what should I cover, what should I not cover, look at your sublimits. Every one of us, what your coverage is, look on your declarations page. Your declarations page will tell you exactly what coverages you have and what the sublimits are. And we're just talking very generic terms, because I don't know what you have or what you don't have. But and then take it. What I suggest everybody do is go through your house, take pictures. What are the expensive things? What should you, if you go through your house and you start looking at the artwork, the clothing, your jewelry, what is going to be above that sublimit, and then that's when you start looking at, this is what I need to start scheduling. If you've got a lot of camera equipment, because I don't know about you, but I do. I thought it was going to be easy to become a photographer. I figured if we just clicked enough that we'd find a good picture here and there, and I figured that's all there was to it, but I was wrong. But we've got a lot of camera equipment, and so scheduling that stuff, I mean, because that stuff starts adding up quickly.
Right.
And so just look at your personal property. Just go through your house, look at the things that you own, what's above the sublimits, because that's really where you're at risk. And most people don't tell you this, but I mean, it's something that you need to know. That way, if something does happen, you're at least prepared for it, and you know what the ramifications are for not scheduling as versus scheduling.
Exactly. Anything of value you want to get scheduled, whether it's artwork, whether it's some sort of collectible, some sort of souvenir, jewelry, especially guns, etc. Anything of value, folks, you want to get it scheduled. And folks, look, insurance agents out there, a lot of them are just hit and run. They hit you with that lowest quote, they get you sold, and then off they go, and you never talk to them ever again. Richard is not like that. He can shop 20 to 25 companies behind the scenes to get the best policies for you. He can bundle auto with one company, home with another company, and give you all the bundle discounts, matching you with the companies that you need to take care of your needs. And of course, he's going to talk about all these other things, like scheduling, the important things.
Absolutely.
Scheduling the important things in your life, as well as everything else. His website, richardtagency.com. Go to his website, richardtagency.com. Check it out. His phone number is right there. Give him a call. He will take care of everything for you. And, folks, just take care of us. If you need services that we're providing, go to the website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. You can connect with all of us. And, even if it's something you're thinking about doing 6 months down the line or a year down the line, give us a call. We'll be happy to do a little free consult over the phone, and we will get you taken care of that way. Remember, we are here every week, 8 to 9 a.m. live. And, one of the stories that I didn't get to, somebody had mentioned this actually in an email. And, last week they said that you didn't, how come you didn't talk about the the Bill O'Reilly story?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was kind of surprising. I was like, we get emails, but generally it's business related, it's not necessarily like that. And, you know what? I haven't talked about that, and it's because I've kind of been waiting on more information. I've seen the story just like everybody else has. But I'll tell you this, out of the research that I've done so far, folks, Bill O'Reilly is phase 2 of a program. Roger Ailes was last year. This year is Bill O'Reilly. And phase 3 is, Hannity, and they're retooling Fox News.
Yes.
The Murdoch sons who really wish to destroy the legacy of Pops, and totally convert Fox News. At the end of the day, whether we don't know what Bill has done, we don't know the extent of what Rogers did, but these were excuses. Roger was out last week. Bill's out this year. And next year it's going to be Handy. Something, unfortunately, will be found for Hannity. He'll be, moved on, unfortunately.